Hi, welcome to ZGadgetReview. So as you can see, I came out here to do the talking head part for the Pixel 7 review, which I have right here, and I have a lot of thoughts on it. But as you can see, the weather has taken a turn for the worse. You can see my hair is all bad, and it just started raining. So this isn't going to go the way I thought it was going to go. So we're going to move somewhere else to continue the review. The Pixel 7 Pro is the newest addition to the Pixel lineup of phones by Google, and it is a nice device. Granted, there isn't a huge difference between last year's model, the Pixel 6 Pro, and this year, the Pixel 7 Pro, except for the housing around the camera. That is really the biggest change about this phone. Besides that, it is pretty much the same. Oh, and it is 0.3 inches bigger screen-wise than last year's, but it really is a negligence of size because the device isn't taller, it's just a little wider. It's so close to last year's device that you could still use the Pixel 6 Pro's case on this, and it's pretty much is going to fit. The other big difference on the device is the buttons, where the buttons sit. We have the volume and power buttons a little lower actually than last year's device. So that's something that you will have an issue if you're trying to repurpose last year's case. And the reason is because of where it sits in your hand. It sits a lot better in your hand by having it here. Believe it or not, that small couple of less than inches of movement on the buttons makes it so your hand sits better where the buttons are. Another change that we have hardware-wise is under the hood, and that is the newest Tensor chip, the G2. That is the second generation processor from Google, which was introduced on last year's Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro. Now, the newest chip is supposed to make the phone faster when it comes to doing things, unlocking the phone, and doing other tasks. It is also supposed to add newer features that technically last year's device cannot do, but something tells me that it most likely can. Another change that comes to the device is face unlocking. And there have been rumors that face unlocking was going to come to the Pixel 6 Pro. Well, it's coming to the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro. And it actually works very, very well, and it's really, really fast. Sometimes when I grab the phone, before I can put my finger on the fingerprint sensor, that phone unlocks. Another neat feature of face unlocking is that you don't even have to turn on the phone. The moment the phone sees your face, it turns the screen on and unlocks the phone. Let's see if we can get the phone to be fooled by my face on the video. So here we're gonna try to do this. You can see there, and it's not, I'm doing it. All right, so we have a selfie of me here, and we're going to see if the phone reacts to it. Try it again. And no, it is still locked. Alright, so I went and zoomed in the picture. So if my camera right here is picking up that it is a face, so let's see if this picks it up. That's so cool. Now we know that a video or camera cannot fool the Pixel face unlock. Now we have a new improved fingerprint sensor, and that is a welcome change because the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro famously had issues with the fingerprint sensor. Even after all the fixes with software and stuff, you still had issues with the device reading your fingerprint. And that is something that was kind of annoying. I personally haven't had misreadings with the fingerprint sensor, and it does work a lot faster. You still have to hold your finger there for, I will say, less than a second. It's not as fast as if you have a physical fingerprint reader there, but it works, and it works a lot better than last year's device. Besides that, it's still the same device pretty much. But the majority of changes come with software. A lot of the things that we have are either already available on the device or coming soon to the device. So for example, they're going to be adding the Pixel Buds Pro noise canceling. So when you're in a place that has a lot of noise, people can hear you clearly and it'll cancel the noise around you. Now we have improvements on Direct My Call. That was a feature that was introduced with the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro. And that was one of the things that the Tensor chip could do that they couldn't do before. The improvements on the Pixel 7 are where Google already knows what the options are. So you can skip what the robot or the recording that you're listening to is going to tell you, and you can immediately go straight to the options, saving you time. Now that feature right now is available on the Pixel 7, but it is not available on the Pixel 6. But something tells me that that improvement is going to come around at some point on last year's devices. Another new feature on the software is automatic transcription of voice messages, which will allow you to immediately read a voicemail instead of listening to that voicemail. The transcript is done automatically on your device locally, so it doesn't go to the cloud. Now, if you put your phone in bedtime mode when you go to bed, there's a new feature that has been added, and that is cough and snore detection. Once you activate it, the phone is going to be listening to you while you sleep, which is a little creepy in my opinion. But if you are someone who's into something like that, the phone is going to be able to tell you in the morning how many times you coughed or snore while you were sleeping. I don't know how that helps you, but everybody is into different things. Some of the other upcoming changes are going to be access to VPN for 5 years. So if you have a Pixel device, you no longer will have to pay an extra fee for VPN access. Now, the other change is going to be made to the voice recording app. If you ever use Google's voice recording app, which I recommend it, it's really, really good. They're going to be adding a new feature that recognizes people's voices. And Google has been showing demos of up to 3 people where it assigns each person a different line of recording. That way you can differentiate each person when they are speaking.
Battery life on the phone was good. I was getting between 8 and 9 hours of battery life depending on what I was doing. Sometimes I get up to 10 hours. Now, as I mentioned before in previous videos, I work from home, so I'm usually using the phone constantly throughout the day, and my phone is usually either running videos or music or something in the background, making phone calls, receiving text messages. So I'm in constant use of the phone even while I'm at home. So I will say that 8 to 9 hours is pretty good. I don't have a 30-watt fast charging brick. I have an 18-watt fast charging brick, which is the one that came with the Razer M4 II. It is a pretty old charging brick, but you know what? The whole idea of companies not including a charging brick on the box anymore is that you can use an older charging brick, and so that's what I'm doing. So this will also show you that you don't necessarily have to have a 30-watt charging brick in order to take advantage of the fast charging. A few things about how I conducted the review. I used this device, the phone, which I'm actually doing this part of the video on, shooting in a 4K 60 frames per second for a little bit over a week. Now, I've used this phone in several different settings on my daily life, and it's worked very, very well. At the same time, I decided not to use a case from the get-go because I wanted to see how the phone felt in my hand, how safe it was not to have a case on the phone and all that. I know it's playing with fire because you could drop the phone and destroy it, but I figured, let me try and see how it goes. And there's actually something that happened with the camera casing.
Recommendation is, if you're going to get this phone, is to get a case for it or something to protect the camera module, because as you can see there's some scratches along the bottom of the camera module there. The lens looks to be fine. It's just the metal surrounding that camera there is not very scratch resistant, and I haven't really done anything to this phone. I haven't dropped it once. It's been in my pocket the whole time, and the pocket that I carry my phone is empty, doesn't have anything in it, so it's not like I have keys or coins along with the phone in there for these scratches to be there. This is pretty much just from setting the phone down like this, which I tend to do. Sometimes I put it on the screen, which I don't really like doing that much. So usually have it sitting on its back. And so those scratches are coming from that. Now, the rest of the changes on the Pixel 7 happen around the camera and the camera software. So for that, let's go to the tip.
One of the new additions is macro photography. So here are some examples of pictures I've taken using macro. I zoomed myself for the video on the Buds Pro here to give you an idea of what it looks like zoomed in. And here's an example of how to get the macro activated. All you have to do is get close to the subject until you see the little yellow flower that comes up that you see there, comes up for any subject. And once you see that, that means a macro is activated and you can start taking pictures.
I want to take the shake cam while I run behind the dog, see how good the stabilization on the new camera is. Because supposedly they've added stabilization. Come on, let's go. Stabilization to the camera to make it more cinematic and to make the movement smoother. And so right now it's having a hard time focusing on the dog. Let's see if we can get it to do it. It's not focusing. Ooh, that's not good for Google. Lost focus there. Oh, it's not focusing. That's kind of a problem. Seems to work. Woohoo! Yep, nope.
All right, so that actually seemed to work, which is great because it means that the third time was the charm. I did restart the phone before that try, but we didn't get that weird thing where the phone went fuzzy and lost its focus on the dog. So hopefully it stays that way.
Here we are testing out the new 4K 60 frames per second feature on the camera. There's tons of mosquitoes around me right now. This was a bad idea to come outdoors because I'm gonna get eaten by these mosquitoes. Now we're doing 4K 30 frames per second without HDR on, and here we have the sun behind me still to compare both videos to see if we can see a difference between the HDR version and the non-HDR version. Now, I will try to edit the HDR so we can have HDR when the video loads up. All right, so now we're testing out 4K 30 frames per second. And then this feature is where we can activate HDR 10, which is what I have activated right now. So right now I'm shooting in HDR 10. You cannot do, actually look at that sky behind me. That looks pretty cool. So actually you cannot do HDR 10 if you're shooting on 4K 60 frames per second. So that is the difference between, besides obviously that rate between 30 and 60, the fact that you can do HDR 10.
I want to provide a quick explanation with the HDR video that you just saw. So the video is not edited in HDR because I don't have the equipment to edit in HDR as much as I would have loved to do that. Honestly, you could do some editing on Lightroom, and so I was able to color correct the file in Lightroom, and I did very light color correct. I didn't super color correct it. It's like very light, just changing the contrast and colors and trying to bring things to pop. But I feel like you can see the difference in the image if you were to do SDR image and an HDR image on the sun in the background, and you can tell the difference that one is brighter than the other based on the original file, but it is not in HDR.
Okay, so now I'm using that 4K 30 frames per second. I'm using the back camera now. I am zoom out as much as I can because I'm only using my arm right now, of course, to do this video, so it's kind of hard to gauge exactly where I am in the frame. Now we're going 4K 60 frames per second. As I said earlier, speech enhancement on. 4K 60 frames per second does not allow you to activate HDR. So this is going to be a non-HDR shot. Hopefully this is coming out the way I want it to come out. So now I'm testing out the cinematic blur, which means that the background behind me should be blurring right now. Of course, I'm using my arm because this only works with the back camera. It doesn't work with the front-facing camera.
This works well, but notice the shoulder area, how the bokeh effect is struggling to catch up, so still needs a little bit of work. Here we can see how the zoom works, and I did these pictures at night on purpose to see how the camera handle lower light and zooming as far as I was zooming. Now, as you can see, the closest you get, when you get all the way to 30, it is really hard to discern what it is that you're looking at. You can tell that it's people down there because of the previous images, but I feel like if I didn't show you the previous images, that it will be hard for you to tell that those are people golfing. It is a lot easier to zoom with the Pixel 7 Pro than the previous Pixel, and the reason is because they made the zoom like a slider. So as soon as you put your finger there and slide up, you can start zooming in, versus on the Pixel 6 Pro, you actually had to do a pinch to zoom in order to activate the zoom options. Night set is supposed to be improved this year, so let's take a look at some night shots. Let's zoom in. So there's my face, it's kind of blurry there. Maybe we can fix it with unblur. We'll do, this will be perfect for unblur, so let's give it a try here. And this will be one of the new features that the phone has, is unblurring images of pictures that you have taken. And to me, this will be a perfect candidate to unblur it. Oh, look at that difference. Wow. Original. So let's get closer there. That's the original. And that's the fixed one. Original. Fixed. Well, they did a great job. Even the backpack. Look at the straps of the backpack there. That's a great job. Wow. So we're going to test out the lock feature, and this is for far away shots. So it works. You only have two choices here. You have 2x zoom, 5x zoom. But what it does is it locks the screen so the screen doesn't move too much when you're zooming into things and you're taking video. So if you see there right now, my hand is moving, but the frame isn't moving at all. So the frame is still right now. And so if I want to move it a little bit up, there it just unlocked and locked again. So if I want to move it back down, it's very smooth movement. So let's go to 5. So if we're on 5 zoom, or right there, and I can move it, but it's very, very slow. So you don't get very, very fast movement when you're taking video and you're zooming, because as we know, when you're zooming into things, your movements are right by the camera very, very fast, and so that can make the image look blurry or shaky. And so this lock feature helps you when you are taking shots from far away. Let's try to do the long exposure. Try to do an action shot. I did find something odd with the color of the phones. If you see here the 3 pictures taken in different places, you could think that these are 3 different phones, but they are the same phone. I know what you're gonna say. Color changes depending on the lighting, but the change in colors is very, very extreme. and I don't really know why it changed besides, of course, the obvious lighting. Don't be surprised if your color looks different in different places. So here's something I would recommend you to do once you get your phone. Go to your settings, display, and under display all the way down where it says screen resolution. By default, it's going to be on 1080p. I changed that to 1440p. It didn't change my battery life, so you should be good. There's also a known bug going on right now where if you go to security, it's going to show you this. It's not happening for everybody, but it's happening for some people. I'm one of those people. It's going to tell you security may be at risk. If you check your updates, it's going to tell you that everything is up to date. So you go back, and then when you look at the list, it's going to tell you it's the Google Play System Update. Google Play System Update. We're going to go to Settings, About. Right here, it's going to tell you Play Store version, Update Play Store. It's going to tell you that the store is up to date, but you're still going to have that security error. So don't be alarmed if you see something like this.
I personally have enjoyed my time using the phone. I don't really have many complaints, but not everything is roses all the time. I gotta admit that I had a couple of times where my phone actually locked up when I was using it for watching videos and doing other tasks. There were two occasions where the screen just froze and I wasn't able to do anything with the phone until the phone restarted itself. And once it restarted itself, it was good. I had some issues also with connectivity. There's been a few times when I changed from Wi-Fi to regular cell connection, and I don't know if this has to do with the phone or the cell connection. It doesn't really pick up. It picks up the signal, but the phone doesn't really react fast enough to the change in signal. And so the way I've been able to fix it is by going into airplane mode. I count until 3 and then I take it out of airplane mode and then everything works fine. So again, I don't know if it's something to do physically with the device or something to do with the service that I'm using. As you saw there, when I was doing that test of the stability on the camera got blurry and I wasn't able to get it to focus. Something that can get annoying, especially if you're trying to get a video of something while you're running. And the fact that Google's trying to sell their phones, kind of like Apple is selling their phones, so you can shoot movies and have this cinematic kind of panning and things, it's a problem if you're going to be relying on the Pixel to do those kind of things. But overall, I do like the device. Do I like it enough to recommend you to buy it? Well, that's going to be a no. While I like the phone and it works well, and I will say better in some ways than last year's device, I don't think that there's a huge of a gap between both devices to merit to go out and buy this. I will personally wait for next year's device until the Tensor 3 comes out to see what Google improves. And in my opinion, if you were to get a Pixel right now, which is going to be heavily discounted since the new one already came out, you will be getting a great device and most likely will get improvements. I am pretty sure that a lot of the software changes that are happening on this device are going to be coming to the Pixel phone. Now, something that you should not expect to get is Face Unlock. And I don't know if Face Unlock merits buying a whole new device. Some of the changes on the camera are nice, but that also depends on how you use the camera and how often you use the camera. If you're the type of person who just takes random pictures like selfies and pictures of your food or your dog, the Pixel 6, Pixel 6 Pro are going to do just fine for you. If you're someone who's into photography, well, then the Pixel 7 is going to be a better choice for you than the Pixel 6 Pro. Just the fact that you can zoom as far as you can and do it as smoothly as you can, which you cannot do with the Pixel 6 Pro. The Unblur is a really good feature as well that works for either current images, as I showed you, or older images. But again, how often will you be using something like that? So when it comes to camera, it really depends on how you use that camera, if it's going to be worth it or not for you. Choose the category that you fall into and make your decision based on that. Now, I will be doing a comparison video between the Pixel 7 Pro and the Pixel 6 Pro, where I'm going to go into more detail on the big differences between both devices. You don't want to miss out on that video. That could also help you make a decision between the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 7 Pro. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Do you currently have either Pixel device? Are you looking to get the Pixel 7? Do you have any other questions that I could probably answer on the upcoming comparison video? Let me know in the comment section. That is it for me. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.